All right. I feel like Ashley Simpson on Saturday Night Live because the music just stopped, but now I'm live. So it's me, Nick Z, one of your hosts here on the On Deck Circle. Sorry, I'm all messed up now without the funk coursing through my veins. I just need Jason in here I just want to know if he could hear the music. Jason, come on in, buddy. Could you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
I didn't hear any music at all.
Oh, man.
So literally was like Ashley Simpson. Do you or was that just like a reference that people that no, I feel like that's a pretty cultural reference.
I was talking about like when she lip sung on SNL.
SNL, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get the reference.
Made a joke about it once.
I don't know if I saw that. I am, but not up on all the episodes. I don't know if I've seen that one or not.
That's fine. I lived in Rhode Island for a brief period of my life, and my girlfriend did not know that Family Guy was based in Rhode Island.
Yeah, Quahog or whatever it's. I don't know how. Yeah,
which is not a real place. In case you're
okay. I always did wonder that. Kind of like how the Simpsons use Springfield, just because there's like a Springfield. Yeah, Springfield in every state.
Yeah.
Same with. I think there's a lot of. I know there's Springfield, Illinois. I know a lot of Springfield. If you Google it, I'm sure there's a ton. Yeah. And what was the town that they were always a nemesis with? Or like that one was a very common name too. It's not coming to me right now.
I'm not. I love The Simpsons when I was a kid, but I haven't really.
So I actually just watched an episode on Sunday night, and it was a brand new episode. And I was actually shocked to see still brand new episodes of Simpsons.
One of my college professors, we had to write a paper about our favorite episode of The Simpsons, and I was like, I don't really have. It's like a cool show, but like I'd rather Family Guy. That might be a bad take.
I don't know. I mean, Family Guy is pretty cultural appropriate, and it's newer. Like I feel like it's more adult themed. I guess you could say more PG-13.
Yeah, my head is just too much in the gutter. Do we think Dave watches any of this?
No.
He's got
Simpsons probably, because the Simpsons have been around for like 40 years. So
he's like, I'm like a King of the Hill guy.
Hey, I like King of the Hill.
All right. Well, I'm not going to ask you a question because we talked enough. So, Dave, come on in, my guy.
Well,
King of the Hill, right?
I mean, I've seen King of the Hill, but I mean, I wouldn't say I watch King of the Hill.
Okay. Do you watch Family Guy?
Simpsons?
Yeah, I love Family Guy and I love Simpsons. Yeah, I haven't watched new of either in a while. I used to DVR them both, and I haven't watched a new episode of Simpsons intentionally probably in a decade. Family Guy, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I just stopped watching it, but I'll watch reruns of Family Guy, and I just got so much more going on probably now than I did back at that point in time. So Family Guy is right up there with like South Park for me for like
I think it's better than South Park. But
no, nothing's better than South Park. South Park legitimately to me is the most well-written show that there is. They're so clever and so funny. I mean, I get that you have to have the right sense of humor to appreciate it. I feel like
similar, though.
I almost feel like with a show like South Park, either you just love and appreciate how well it's done, or you think it's just the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if there's a ton of middle ground on something like that.
I just like how they use current events and make fun of everybody.
Yeah, they can make episodes so quick. That they can spit out episodes that are very relevant. At least at that moment. I mean, a replay might not do it justice. 20 years from now, where you're like, oh, wait a minute, what? Because it may be, it may not. Well, certain things may not age well, or they may not actually have much of a place in history.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. Like where it's not, people even today may not even know who that is anymore. But at the time, but at the time, like that was like, this huge story, and if you're not into sports, you probably don't know who that is nowadays,
Yeah.
All right.
I guess
Well,
we should get to baseball instead of. I don't know. I kind of like talking TV.
well, let's do our perfect draft then. It's still not baseball related.
Nope.
But we are going to. I don't know. I think it was me that decided or it came up with the suggestion because I didn't want to do something Christmas related exactly. I had a couple ideas, but I wanted to get a little closer to Christmas.
Mhm.
And since we're in the middle of what to me is like, this is literally like what I think of as like the holiday season. Like once you get to like Thanksgiving, you just are like holiday. You know. So I thought that we would go ahead and do a draft with our favorite holidays. I'm thinking we just go 3 rounds. What do you think? 3 rounds?
Yep.
Hey,
So,
Jason, me.
well, you
Jason.
guys can fight out second.
It's all you, Jason.
Okay.
It's all Jason. So for me, my favorite holiday, for sure, by far, no question about it, is 4th of July.
Good
Always
one.
That was my one too.
Yeah, always a fan of 4th of July. I mean, for me growing up, it was, and I guess I just thought that this was everywhere. So when I moved and this wasn't a thing, I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, I just thought that's what people did. Is the carnival was always in town during the 4th of July weekend. So I just kind of assumed that that was normal. That's what people did. So I love going on rides and, that kind of stuff. And I love the fireworks and, so for me, just the whole combination of that's the weekend I get to go to the carnival. That's when we can have fireworks. And obviously, I served, in the Marine Corps. So, the patriotism. So for me, just too many reasons, 4th of July is my holiday. And that's why I said I have to go first because I couldn't let either one of you take that. So
I would have taken it.
Number one forever.
So so I took 4th of July. Oh man, I mean we could go on and on about reasons why, but those are the core reasons for me.
Two.
Yes,
yeah.
Sir.
All right. Well, 4th of July is gone. Then I'm going to follow that up with Christmas. I feel like it's a good, to me, Christmas is not just one day; it's almost the whole month of December. So I feel like you're getting a month worth of holiday into, taking one day. So that's going to be my 1-1 is Christmas.
Okay.
Well, this sucks.
The 2 best holidays in the calendar, right?
My second pick is still out there.
I'm going with Thanksgiving.
Yep, that's a
good. It's food, it's football, family. It's really probably the 3 things I really like the most. So we're gonna go with that, and then coming back, Memorial Day. I love me a weekend. It's usually my birthday, so that's also a nice long weekend. My girlfriend is saying that was a bad pick.
No, that was my next pick.
That was my next pick. So far we're all there, man. We're all there.
You kick off summer, you get the barbecues flowing, you're getting in the nice weather. It's a great holiday.
Yeah, for sure.
She's citing that it's not a happy holiday.
Well, that's true, but
I mean, but a holiday doesn't have to be happy. I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's in the definition.
No, it's favorite. It's favorite holiday.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying, like, hey,
thank you to our service people.
I appreciate exactly. I appreciate Memorial Day is one of my favorite because it allows people a chance to reflect on people that made the ultimate sacrifice and so no, it doesn't have to be happy. It's favorite holiday.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Jason, you're up.
All right, my second pick, since all my good ones are getting taken up here, I'm going to go in and grab Halloween.
Yeah,
we just had it. It's one of my favorite things. Again, you get almost like a whole month worth of celebrating. You got scary movies, pumpkin patches, carving pumpkins, just a whole bunch of fun things to do in the month of October. So, again, another month-long type holiday.
Yep. I got you. So my next one then, I'm gonna actually go. I think a lot of people prefer New Year's Eve. Is I don't even know if that's technically a holiday. I guess it is, but for me, it's not New Year's Eve because I've never been into drinking or anything like that. I don't party, and I'm lame. So for me, I prefer New Year's Day. New Year's Day for a couple reasons. So similar to Thanksgiving, there's football, and there's lots of football. But more than that, a lot of people look at it's the beginning of a new year. I'm going to have my my New Year's Day resolution, and those usually last for a couple weeks. And for like seriously, the busiest time at the gym, like no shit, is like the first half of January. Man, if you go to the gym on like January 3rd, fucking everybody is there. Like you go to the gym like June 1st, fucking no one's there.
Yep.
So the gym really picks up early on in the year because everyone's made this resolution, and good for them, and it teeters off. The last one, I mean, I guess I should have came a little more prepared with more because I thought we'd all pick a lot of the same ones. I guess I'm going to stay on brand here, and I'm just going to go Veterans Day. I mean, it's, a lot of people kind of combine Veterans Day and Memorial Day to me and kind of, think of them similarly, and they're not, obviously, Veterans Day is, obviously just meant to, appreciate, veterans and, their sacrifices and stuff. And this is actually this year, just because I was crazy busy, this was actually the first year probably in, I don't know, at least 5 years, maybe like 10, that I didn't like go out and get one of those, free Veterans Day meals or something from, like Applebee's or Chili's or, something like that. I mean, there was even one year, and I don't think it's crazy, and I don't think this is going overboard, but I went to like McDonald's or something to get, some free breakfast thing. And then I went to like TGA Fridays or something for lunch and got something. And then I went to like, Olive Garden or something for dinner to get, so I kind of took advantage of, hitting, multiple places for
most. You did like a bar crawl, but like.
Yeah, but like, exactly.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll go with that. That's on brand, and all the ones that I really had in mind were gone. So not to poo-poo on Veterans Day, but that's
a solid third pick. And like you, Dave, I went back and forth on do I want to pick New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. I ultimately decided New Year's Day, but you just took that from me, so I'm going to go ahead and follow up. And what better holiday than Father's Day?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's, of course, a good one.
Me being, may or may not know many people, but I am a father of 2 boys. So what better day than Father's Day to be spoiled and be celebrated, I guess. So, yeah, that's a good one to end it for me. It's going to be Father's Day.
Yep, that's that was one that was on my radar. Because the reason I didn't pick either one of those really, or the reason I didn't pick that is because I was debating on Father's Day or Mother's Day, and I'm like, I think I'm just going to avoid both of them.
They're a bit of a hallmarky type holiday, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, I couldn't decide on the two, and I was like, I don't want to be like selfish, but Father's Day means more to me personally, but Mother's Day, But yeah, I steered clear.
All right, the board's pretty thin.
Yeah, what do you got, Nick?
I'm going with Hanukkah.
I knew you were going.
There we go.
No, that's good. I knew that at some point you were taking it there. Yep.
Yeah, I had to. I just celebrated my 5th Hanukkah this past weekend. It was a great time. I got some nice gifts, spent some time with some lovely family.
Talk about some of these gifts.
Did you get a visit from Hanukkah Harry though?
No, but hold up.
Is he going to show us a gift he received?
No.
I hope it's not. I hope he doesn't bring out like a dick in a box.
No, so, in the Jewish culture, they call their grandparents Bubby.
Okay.
And instead of elf on a shelf, they have a dancing Bubby.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
After all that dancing,
and it just
I'm schwitzing.
It doesn't dance. My dog absolutely hates it.
Yeah, I bet.
Gonna attack it if you let it go.
Oh, God.
I think that's Nick's. Put that thing on silent.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know how to. It's a real
little switch on the bottom, on the side of the phone.
No, it's from my laptop.
Oh, I gotcha.
Oh,
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Hanukkah.
All right, yeah, that's a good way to wrap it up there.
And then, since we're 15 minutes into the show, I guess now would be a good time to discuss some baseball on a
this is a baseball pod.
on a baseball program. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like in the off season, like have a little bit of fun. I mean, yeah, we can sit there and rattle home baseball all the time, but let's talk about some fun stuff, and we'll sprinkle some baseball in, and then once we get around the season and stuff, and all that, then we can sprinkle in some nonsense and throw some baseball in there. So we decided that we were going to hit on some of the big free agent signings that happened. Obviously, we're in the middle of a lockout right now, and who knows when that will end.
Ooh.
So maybe we'll have a lot more nonsense to talk about, but there's a flurry of deals, obviously, right before, all of that happened. So we wanted to go ahead and highlight some that were most notable to us.
This is the way that free agency should be handled every offseason. Mm-hmm. There should be some sort of window that these players have to sign within, and we'll get this type of action every year instead of waiting and waiting and waiting. One player a week. Let's get some excitement around these off-season moves.
Yeah, man. So biggest one here, Max Scherzer, 3 years, $130 million from the Mets. Not a team that I would have pegged as him going to. I guess, and we'll cover some more Mets news later on. Hopefully Stash is watching. I doubt it. But I didn't expect them to make this kind of a move. And in reality, I think it makes all the sense in the world. Anytime that a pitcher signs in the National League, I think that's a win for their dynasty value. I mean, if I'm splitting hairs between players and it's a coin flip or at least close to it, if there's one guy in the NL and one guy in the AL, I honestly that's my coin flip, if possible. So I don't think he really misses much of a beat. He's going back into the NL East, so he's familiar with that. So yeah, I mean, I think it makes all the sense in the world for all parties involved.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest shocker on this was the Mets. Steve Cohen must have been like, how can I get the best pitcher in the league to come sign with me? Oh, I know, I'll highly overpay this guy. Record-breaking 43 AAV, 43 million AAV. Which
listen, man, you're worth what someone will pay you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that just is crazy. I mean, the highest before was Garrett Cole at 36 mil, so he's getting paid. So. Yeah. I mean, I think I'd rather have Scherzer than Garrett Cole, but still, I mean, that's like $7 million a year you're talking. But yeah, I mean, he deserves it. I mean, 3-time Cy Young winner. He's obviously, great 1-2 punch now with him and DeGrom there in New York. I mean, look, and he's been the epitome of health too. I mean, he's got, dating back to his rookie year, he's averaging 30 starts a year. He's only had one season in which he didn't make 30 starts a year. That doesn't include 2020.
Yeah.
He's got a career 3 ERA, averages 225 strikeouts a season, and even had a season with 300 strikeouts in 2018. I mean, he's 37 now, so I think at some point, age will catch up to him, but I don't think it'll be in 2022. And he does have an opt-out after 2023. So, I mean, it's probably worth the 43 million if you ask me. So, I mean, great signing by the Mets. And I think, how can you argue? I mean, his value right now in Dynasty is probably higher as it's ever going to get. Might come down a little bit just because he's 37, but I mean, great deal.
Yeah, if you look at my rankings, he's probably lower than you would expect if you're just thinking, if you're, especially if you're someone that plays like a lot of redraft or, isn't, heavily into Dynasty. Guys like, and I know that it's different because he's coming off a major injury, but, Scherzer, Verlander, those two guys to me are the standouts where, assuming Verlander, was fully healthy, they're going to be further down in the rankings than you expect, even though, they may be completely dominant at the moment. So even though Max Scherzer, you could easily say one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball for next season, doesn't make him a top 5 dynasty pitcher.
Right.
Age plays a huge factor in that. Even though, if I had to have a game pitched tomorrow in real life and you said, hey, you want Scherzer or do you want Julio Urias? Well, I want Max Scherzer all day. But in Dynasty, if I have those two guys on the board and I have to decide between one of those two pitchers, I'm not taking Max because what do I get 2-3 years out of him? Yeah, I got a decade of Julio. So, and they're comparable enough. I mean, Max is better, but Julio isn't it isn't in an entirely different atmosphere. So,
did you see who took credit for this contract?
No,
I don't know.
Trevor Bauer.
I saw him on Twitter talking up again, and
he was like
this is all news to me, so please explain.
It was like something along the lines of like short deal, big money, and he was like, I wonder where he learned that from, or some shit like that.
What a dumb. I mean, I
wish he would.
Yeah, that's just weird. Like, that's just, hey guys, remember me? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, get a headline when like he should not want a headline right now.
So like, he's the first person that ever thought, hey, short contract. No.
Right.
Like, what does LeBron James do? He signs for a while, one year deal. So I wonder where Trevor Bauer got it from.
Yeah, exactly.
What a fucking douche.
I'm excited though. He can definitely handle that market, which is great, especially because they're like the B team in that market. So he'll really thrive there. And I think him and DeGrom, that has to be two of the best like to ever happen, right?
Well, I mean,
it's hard to say, but
Tigers had Max and JV in their primes.
Yeah, but they didn't win anything.
They went to the World Series.
They're the fucking Mets. What if the Mets won?
But they will because of this. They're ready to roll.
No. Well,
but yeah, it's a great one
too. If
too.
Healthy, then yes, you could argue that you have two of the. You could even say you have the two best pitchers in baseball. I mean, theoretically, they would definitely both be in the conversation if healthy. To say, are they the best pitcher in baseball? Yeah, maybe.
It's like the two best in the last like decade.
Yeah, but DeGrom is going to get hurt, and so we'll see.
Yeah,
DeGrom is always hurt.
He's
like Scherzer is the anti-DeGrom.
Yeah,
like he's as good, but he just doesn't miss time. Next on our list, we had Corey Seager, who I did not expect to sign with the Rangers. Good for them for spending their money. But I did not see that coming. What are your thoughts on that signing, Nick?
This one was as soon as they signed Marcus Semien, I was like, okay, like this, like I get it. But then this one literally made no sense at all. I was like, what? I like thought I got like punked on like the tweet, like it was just like a fake Jeff Passan or a fake
or Bob Nightingale is the one who let it rip.
Yeah,
it's good. I don't think he's this good. He's fine. I just don't see it.
So I don't know if you guys have. I made a joke in the 30 Rock chat, and I mean, I had made a joke about because we were talking about Trevor Story, and I said, well, the Rangers should sign him, and obviously that doesn't make sense because they just signed a second baseman and a shortstop, and I said they can go to a full-time shift. They can basically just have 3 shortstops, and they can play a full-time shift. And I said it, and I meant it as a complete joke. And I thought to myself, you know what? I could see some team actually legitimately saying, you know what? We're going to play a full-time or basically a full-time shift. We're just going to have 3 shortstops. When we have to, we'll play 1 at third base. And you're going to have to beat us. Like you're going to have to beat us by hitting it over our head or something because you're not going to, you're not getting through this infield, And then if anyone ever gets hurt, you still have 2 studs. I mean, I'm not necessarily suggesting that it's a legitimate, realistic option. But if some team actually went out and were like, hey, I want 3 good shortstops, that's not the crazy. It's more of like a MLB The Show kind of a move. But if somebody did that realistically, that's a ton of money, but that could actually work.
It's just positionless baseball. It's like how the NBA.
Kind of. Exactly. It could. You could have. I mean, and if you had a team that legitimately says, hey, we want to shift 70% of the time anyways.
Just give me athletes.
You have 3 shortstops in the middle of the, for your infield. Like, I mean, I don't know. It was a joke that I made that I was like, you know what? That's actually semi-smart.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Corey Seager, I don't know. I think I've always been low on him, and I don't know why. I don't dislike him. I guess it could be the fact that he plays on the West Coast, and so and he's in the NL. So as a Tigers fan, I don't really see him all that often. That's honestly probably a lot of what it is. If he came up with the Tigers, I might think, oh, he's so underrated.
Yeah.
But I think I've always kind of been low man on him, and I think it really is a me problem.
No, I don't think so, because I'm super low on Corey too. I mean, everyone wants to talk about him.
You live like a couple hours away from me, and we both, I mean, we're similar.
Even so, I mean, if you look at just the stats alone, I mean, he doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Even his, counting stats aren't even that great, and that's on being part of one of the top offenses in the league. Mm-hmm. Other than 2021, when he slashed 306, 394, and a slugging on 521, even those numbers, I think he only hit 18 home runs, and he had I don't think he's ever had more than 100 RBIs in a season.
What's
and
his
he's getting paid?
Runs saved? Like what kind of I don't.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I know enough about. I know that he's an adequate offensive player. He's probably
is he worth $33 million a year?
Yeah, he's probably got more of a ceiling than actual production. But
yeah,
one thing that I'm learning more about, because it's not dynasty relevant necessarily. I mean, as long as the guy can stay in the field, that's all the defense we need them to play. We just don't want a guy to get platooned or something, Yep. So I don't know what kind of a defender he really is. I mean, because it doesn't matter to my rationale. So with that being said, do you know what his defensive run?
I don't. But I feel like he's always been known as an offensive shortstop.
Yes. Yeah,
and I just don't see those numbers. I mean,
yeah. So another Mets signing, Starling Marte, a guy that I think is probably a little underrated. I know that he's not, a MVP caliber player, but solid defender, which again, a real life thing. But when it comes to dynasty kind of stuff, stolen bases and speed, those kind of things dissipate very quickly. If you don't have it, it's very hard to acquire. And so Marte, even though he's not going to win you a roto league or win you a head-to-head on stolen bases, if you have a couple of hims, that's how you are good there. And he's good enough all around, that I think he's borderline an underrated player, but not a guy that I'm going to stand on a hill and argue for, But I mean, that's a great signing for the Mets. I don't think $19 million a year. I don't think that's asking too much. I think that's the cheapest of the whole group we have on here. And I mean, that's in real life wise, he's one of the more well-rounded players that was available.
Yeah, I mean, as a 33-year-old last year, he led the league in stolen base with 47. He's had multiple 2020 seasons, so he's not just speed. He brings some power.
Yeah.
He does, he gets on base quite a bit, gets good, hit to edit to look up his career average, but I don't think it's anything lower than maybe 280. He averages 18 for his career. He averages 18 home runs, 36 stolen bases, and 58 extra base hits.
Yeah.
I think he even gets a little bit of a bump going to New York. He goes into the top of that Mets lineup. They got guys with multiple 25 home run hitters, so he'll get to set the table for Pete Alonso and the likes of that. So I mean, I think he gets a bump even. And yeah, I mean, like he said, he's solid defender in center field, and even if he moves over to left or right field, I think he could still put up 2020 seasons for the next couple of seasons. So
yeah,
I think it was a great signing
to left field at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I mean, we'll see, but
he's awesome.
Yeah, getting out of Pittsburgh was huge, and then going from Pittsburgh to then Miami. I mean, getting out of those two teams has been obviously just showed in his production going to Oakland in a playoff race. I don't know, of those 47 stolen bases, I think he had 30 of them with Oakland. I have to check those numbers, but it was high.
There was a stretch where he stole
almost every day.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Was it Pittsburgh, Miami, or Pittsburgh, Arizona?
Oh, I think you're right. I think he did go to Arizona on the trade deadline and then signed with
Miami.
The Marlins.
Okay.
I believe. Or trade. It was one of those.
At one point in Arizona. But
you're right. He did get.
I anticipated the stolen bases to start falling off, and they just haven't yet. But they have to soon, right?
Well, 33. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I've never really studied to see at what age the stolen bases go away.
I mean, more bases than years old this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could argue though that the natural progression is as guys start to steal less, they start to produce more power. And to be quite fair, I guess that's not the reason that you would be, looking to own a Starlin Marte. You're not looking. You're looking for him because he's providing you with steals. More than likely, that's the reason that you have him. So, if all of a sudden he starts to add, 5 to 8 home runs a year, but he cuts the stolen bases in half, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed because that's probably not why you have him. The next one here, I'm going to let you guys go first, and then I'll chime in dead last. And I'm gonna keep it dynasty relevant, but Javier Baez to my Tigers.
Doing the show notes for this episode, I was like, I know some of your thoughts on Baez, and I kind of have some of the similar thoughts, and I decided to include him just because I feel like it's a pretty significant signing, both for baseball and fantasy baseball. So I included him just to talk about him, but we can all sit here and say what we want about Baez, but he does fit one of the Tigers' biggest holes at shortstop for defensive purposes.
Does he though?
I mean, other than what's Correa, who would you have fit for defensively? Not even offensively, just defensive for the Tigers.
Andrelton Simmons.
Was he a free agent? Is he even available?
I think so. I mean, he's obviously an elite defender, but
right.
I mean, listen. Again, I don't want to get too much into non-dynasty related stuff, but
right.
Obviously, this has been a huge talk in Detroit, and I haven't seen many metrics that suggest that Javier Baez. As a matter of fact, I take that back. I haven't seen any metrics that suggest that Javier Baez is currently an elite defender. Is he above average?
Yes.
A little bit, yes. I will say that he is an above average defender, but even that is probably a bit of a compliment. He's definitely better than what we have.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't want to get I want to try to keep it dynasty related. So Nick, go ahead with your thoughts on that signing.
I don't think it does anything to his value. I think he is who he is. He's fine. He's gonna not get on base much. He's gonna hit home runs sometimes. He's gonna strike out sometimes.
He's gonna strike out a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we talked about on the last show about the Jonathan Scope stuff. He's better than Jonathan Scope. He's not like
they're awfully damn similar.
But he's better than it. Maybe it's because of the slides.
Jonathan Scope is one of the most underrated fantasy players. Like his numbers, if you look at them, really quite good. Significantly better than what you would think. When the Tigers originally signed him, I was like, oh wow, that's a great signing. Why are people so low on Scope? Like I've always thought of him in high regard. Yeah. And when he's healthy, which has been quite often, but when he's healthy and on the field, seriously, if that dude was on like the Yankees or the Red Sox,
he
would be an all-star.
Yeah.
But because he's on the Tigers, who have sucked recently,
and the Orioles,
but because he's been on shitty teams, he's just an afterthought because nobody's watching him. But that guy's the comparison between the two really isn't crazy. It's really not.
Yeah.
But,
even just for fantasy purposes, everything aside, I'm not going to sit here. I've watched Baez play for the last 6 years. I'm not going to say he's some awesome, stud that you can't, don't need on your team. But we're talking about a guy in 2018 that hit 34 home runs, 101 runs, 112 RBIs, and 21 stolen bases, and batted .290. If that's something you don't want on your team, that's fine.
He's not batting .290. I fucking guarantee you that.
Well, that's to be seen. He's not like he doesn't hit. I don't think he will.
I guarantee you he will not hit .290.
He's had multiple seasons of hitting 280, 270, 290, 280.
I guarantee you he will not hit 280.
I'm not going to say that he is, but I don't think you can sit here and say that he can't. So, he's proven he can. So
he's not going to.
I'm not here to defend Javi Baez to the extent that you want to disprove him, but I don't think you should sit here and say he's a piece of shit and shouldn't be getting paid. And
I don't.
Hit in Detroit. I, as a Cub fan, have love and hate for Javier Baez. Trust me. There's nobody else I want up, in the regular season with the bases loaded. I want Baez. You're talking about the NLCS bases loaded, you need a grand slam? No, thank you. But for fantasy purposes, I'll take Baez.
So here's what's going to happen to Javier Baez in Detroit for dynasty purposes. His batting average is going to go down. His counting stats are going to go down. He's going to get more extra base hits, but they're not going to be home runs. It's a different ballpark. It's a little bit more neutral than people think. People think of it as a very pitcher friendly ballpark, and it's not really. It's more neutral. It depends on the type of hitter you are. It's a terrible ballpark for a guy like Javier Baez who sells out for power, because you really have to get a hold of one to get it out of Comerica. So he's going to have more doubles. He'll probably sneak in a couple triples. I think you're going to see his stolen bases are going to increase. Detroit, especially now with AJ Hinch, they like to run. If he can somehow manage to get on base, I think you're going to see his stolen bases go up. The main problem is he is exactly the kind of player that the Tigers already have as their biggest weakness. So the Tigers' biggest weakness is they don't promote getting on base at all. And so I think for Javier Baez to have probably in real life as well, probably more so in real life, but for dynasty purposes for us as well, he really needed to go to a team like the Yankees that would force him or really push him in the direction of getting on base more. Because that's exactly that's exactly what the Tigers are now. Outside of Robbie Grossman, they don't get on base. And Javier Baez is another guy that's just not going to get on base. If he can get on base, like I said, you're going to see an increase in stolen bases because they will run him. But as far as all your counting stats and all this stuff goes, he's going to be hitting a lot of home runs and a lot of doubles, and that's probably about it. You're not going to see very many singles from him. So that's what concerns me about the stolen base aspect of it. And that's why I'm telling you, he's not going to bat 280. He's just not. He's going to be like a 240 hitter. It's going to be rough.
240 is a
240. Yeah, that's
okay. Right. If you guys want to keep notes, he's going to hit 240 this year. But he'd be just watch
240.
Yeah, watch. Write it down.
All right.
Write it down.
I will.
I'm not saying anything on that one, but
in my phone.
Okay. All right, how about 245? Does that make you feel better? 245.
I think it's at least 250. He's at least 250.
He's going to have it on base under 300 as well.
That might be possible. I'm not saying he gets on base. I mean, the guy barely walks. He had 20 walks all last year.
So we'll do one more. Have we done here? We'll do this one. We'll cheer Jason up because I've pissed Jason off. I pissed Jason off by talking about Javier Baez. So yeah, we're gonna give him Stroman. So again, this is the guy I would have loved for the Tigers to sign, even though they signed Eduardo Rodriguez. I really thought they were in the market for JV, which obviously they didn't get him. And when Stroman was sitting around, I was like, well, that's a perfect fit for them. But he went to the Cubs. So I think Jason needs to get the first crack.
Yeah, I mean, I love the signing. I just, it's kind of hard to say what the Cubs are doing because there wasn't a lot of time with the whole lockout thing going on. This is a great signing, I think, even if it's, one of things to come, because I think the Cubs need to spend money. I mean, it's no secret. They literally have nobody on their payroll, especially for 2023. I think they have like $8 million committed after 2022. They need to make signings. This was a good one, I think. As far as pitching goes, I feel like $24 million a year for a guy that's shown that he can. He pitched in Toronto, which was a pitcher's nightmare for a while there in the AL East. So I think going from the AL to the NL, and he was in the Mets, and proved that he can. Obviously, pitch. It's a little bit easier to pitch in the NL, so that's going to be huge. And then I think the NL Central might even be worse than the NL East. So I think that's going to help him out. So I think it was a great signing for the Cubs. Mm-hmm. I think he would probably slide in as their number one at the moment. I think the experiment of having Hendricks as your ace, your ace, you want your guy to go out there and stop a losing streak. And I think he's kind of proving that he's not that guy. He's more of a complimentary piece. So I think the Stroman signing by the Cubs was a good deal. And I hope it's a sign of things to come, of more signings if the lockout ever gets resolved, which, it will. Let's be honest.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's money to be spent in Chicago, And if they don't, I think the Ricketts might have a problem with some fans showing up this season. So they better start working out that money. But I think overall, I mean, it was a good signing, good deal, good value for the Cubs. I love it.
Yeah, I really wanted Stroman with the Red Sox, so I'm kind of pissed about it. But if anybody could have him, I'm glad it's you and not Dave, Jason.
Oh, man. Okay.
He already took Eduardo from me, so I gotta. I'm excited. I'm probably gonna get it. I asked for a Marcus Stroman player T for my sister for
Christmas. Nice.
So maybe she'll get me one.
Hopefully, jersey
Chicago because she's there, so you might as well buy it there instead of like Fanatics or some shit. But love Stroman. I love there's no doubt in my mind that he has a list like you see in Billy Madison. Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Crossing people off his list.
Boy, I call that guy.
Has a chip on his shoulder, and he pitches with it, and it's great. And he's so fun to watch. He's great for the game, and he's just the guy that you really root for. I didn't realize, obviously this isn't old, but he's 30. I thought he was like 26. I'm glad he's older than me. That's but he's someone that I continue to try and root for, and I always try and get. I've yet to get Marcus Stroman in any league I've been in. I'm in 5 or 4 leagues.
And I feel like his value, for some reason, I don't know why, other than just like, new face, new place, his value is going to go up. I mean, I don't think it should.
Cool. He's just like
right.
A cool guy.
I don't think it should unless there's more signings to be had by the Cubs, because I don't think there's going to get many wins to be had in Chicago unless some changes are made. But I think his value is going to go up. It's going to be hard to buy Stroman right now, I think, in Dynasty.
I'd say if you're going to buy me, buy him now before they bring Chris.
Agreed.
Agreed. I mean, I guess, like I said earlier, anytime a pitcher signs in the NL, that's good for their value. Unfortunately, where it's going to hurt him is it's going to hurt him in the wins category, because I mean, we've seen with DeGrom, when he was dominant and the Mets sucked, it doesn't matter how good you are. I mean, if you hold the team to 1 run and your team doesn't score until the 8th inning and you throw 7, it doesn't do you any good. So it's going to hurt him in wins. If I'm going to care the least probably about any pitching category, it's probably wins, because it's so, it's so hard to predict. So, if I own Stroman anywhere, I'm happy he didn't go to like Detroit. I'd rather he was in the NL. I'm happy he didn't go to Boston. I'd rather he wasn't in the AL East. But I don't think it moves the needle up any, because unless the Cubs were a powerhouse, so I don't know. I think his value's pretty much where it was. It just luckily didn't take a hit. That's how I would look at that. All right, well, I think that's where we'll can it. And maybe what we'll do next week is we'll kind of do the same thing. Either we'll get rid of the draft and we'll replace it with the Dynasty deep dive, and we'll do some more free agent signings. And maybe we'll keep it a little more baseball related.
Yeah, there was so many. It was hard to just pick a few.
Yeah,
it's hard, there was a lot that first couple of weeks. So
because there's a few that you had listed that we didn't get to that we have to talk about. So
yeah,
I think next week we get back into it, and maybe we keep it more baseball related with our Dynasty deep dive, which I think, if I remember correctly, and maybe I think the proper way to say it would be the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
We had a team.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we had a team picked. We just didn't. We decided that it made a lot more sense to talk about the free agency signing. So we'll do more of that next week, and we'll do our Dynasty deep dive on the Cleveland Guardians.
Can't wait.
Appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight or watching the replay, whichever. If you haven't done so already, in all seriousness, especially if you're on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. That helps us out quite a bit. And if you go ahead and turn on your notifications, you get a 30-minute notification that pops up to let you know when we're going live. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever they call it these days, go ahead and drop a review for us. 5 stars are most appreciated, but give us what you feel is most appropriate. If you want to throw some comments in along with it as well, that's cool. But either way, if you take 30 seconds, 45 seconds,
it all helps grow the podcast. So
if you can just take that smidge of time for us, we would appreciate it. But thanks for tuning in, and we will look forward to talking next week.
Dope.
See ya,
boys.